Welcome to the Networking with Michelle podcast, the show dedicated on providing you the how-tos of marketing and networking strategies. Here we believe in the Jim Rohn quote, success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines practiced every day. Hey everyone, welcome to a new episode of Networking with Michelle. Today's special guest, this is going to be interesting, Brittanni Below. I worked with her maybe 5 years ago. I was working at Invesco Investment Services, and she is in HR. She didn't hire me, but she was over me. And we've connected recently on Facebook, and it's been a pleasure just seeing the growth that each of us have gone through over the past couple of years. So Brittanni, welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
Thanks, Michelle. I am doing great. I'm excited to be here and definitely happy that we've reconnected. It's been great seeing all the growth in the past few years. And I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing good. Invesco was probably my best job by far, but when it was time to go, it was time to go.
Yeah. I can completely understand. I'm still there. I'm actually loving what I do. And, I really admire you, quite honestly, and just being able to branch out and do your own thing. I think many people don't have that confidence to just take that leap and go after what they are passionate about. So kudos to you for doing that.
Well, one, thank you for saying that. And on the flip side, I actually admire you in the same regard because at least a couple of years ago, 3 years ago, I don't think there's been enough messages stating, it's okay to balance a corporate gig plus a side business. I think for the longest, it's been all or nothing, right? You're not an entrepreneur unless this is what you do 100%. So I appreciate you for actually balancing it. And I feel that that's a message that actually needs to be announced more often. It's like, it's okay to do corporate and it's okay to have your successful business on the side as well.
Right. Yeah, it's not easy, but it can be done.
So what is your business?
So I am an independent coach. I actually work with a networking marketing organization, Beachbody. And alongside that, I do online coaching for fitness and health. But I also teach a variety of fitness classes at a local gym, Quality Life Fitness in Houston. My really market and goal is around women. And I do coach men from time to time, but I love connecting with women, especially those who aspire to just do more. And I've, over the past 3 years, really grown into more of that space, networking and career development for women who are looking to kind of do their own thing. So it's been pretty rewarding, and things have definitely evolved for me in the last few years.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm going to toggle back and forth between the corporate and the business questions. Now, I guess since you focus on women, did you feel, the day-to-day corporate life that there was a need for women? Because lots of times, a lot of us, all we do is we work our 8, 10, 12 hours, and then we just go home, eat, and sleep, and we do it again. And it's hard for us to get that fitness component in there. So what did you see that allowed you to jump in and help other women?
Yeah, so and I'll back up a little bit to just my schedule. So I've noticed just within myself, I was trying to grow in my own career. And I kind of started about 5 years ago with my corporate job where I'm at now. But prior to that, I was trying to grow and I kept running into roadblocks. And I realized that one of the reasons why it was difficult for me to really move on to bigger, better things within my corporate job is quite honestly because I wasn't taking care of myself. I was not happy with myself. And so I was actually going on a series of interviews. And in some of those interviews, I will never forget one in particular. I was talking with someone one-on-one, and they were asking me about why I really wanted to work for their company. And of course, you can come up with all these generic answers. My response at that time, I just stopped. I stopped talking in mid-sentence, and I said, you know what? this isn't really for me. I don't think this is the company for me. And I actually stopped the interview right there and left. It was very awkward. But in that moment, I realized, oh my God, I don't know why I want to work for this company. I just I want to get out of my current company. I'm so desperate. I'm so unhappy. And that was my defining moment where I had to stop blaming my environment for my unhappiness and really look at myself. I was not eating the way that I should have been eating. I wasn't spending my time the way I should have been spending it. I wasn't exercising. I was drinking a lot. I was going out a lot, hungover many days going to work. And that was early on in my career, and that was just not the way to do it. So throughout that process of really finding myself and refocusing my priorities, I began exercising. I began watching my nutrition. And then, speed forward a few months later, I actually went on another series of interviews, and it was a completely different experience. I was a much happier person. I felt a lot more confident, and I kind of felt like I could choose where I wanted to work at that point. I wasn't desperately begging people to hire me. So through that experience, I really understood the importance of self-love and self-care, not just for your own personal life, but from a professional stance as well.
Do you think you would have been able to do that self-assessment without experiencing that job interview?
I don't think so. I think because it happened within that moment, I think I needed that, I guess, quote unquote, rock bottom interview, because I don't think I was actually, it's funny because I say at the time now I know I was not confident, but I would have said then, oh yeah, I'm confident. It's fine. But I was not. I was a broken person. And until I could sit there in that room and have this person asking me questions about why I wanted to work for them, and realize I wasn't answering truthfully at all. I was trying to answer in the best way that, I did a Google search when somebody asks you this interview question, and that's not the way to do it. I think a lot of people make that mistake of just not being confident in who they really are. And quite honestly, becoming more confident with who I am and focusing so much on bettering my own personal self and my professional and personal brand, I don't have to worry about what people think. I don't really care what people think. I'm who I am, and I have gotten so many more opportunities just being who I am. And now I've noticed people coming to me for opportunities and offering me things rather than me going for it. So it's definitely a completely different shift. And I'm very appreciative now that I was able to have that interview and just look like a complete idiot, because I needed that to put myself in check.
What are some of the tips you can provide, continuing with your story, as far as how were you able to make that transition? Like, did you cut back on your hours between, I guess, the working and improving your health? What were some of those initial steps you were making?
Yeah, so some of the things that I did, I honestly, I couldn't cut back on hours of work. I actually wasn't working a lot of overtime. So I had my normal 9 to 5 hours, and I just started really doing an assessment on my time inventory. How am I spending my day before work? How am I spending my day after work? And a lot of, again, going back to, I was spending a lot of time after work going out, drinking, and spending time socializing with people who honestly brought zero value to my life. And when I finally realized that I could be spending that time doing something else, it was a hard shift. It was difficult because, I don't want to discredit any of the friends that I had at the time. I think they're great people, but for me, they were not bringing value to me. And I had to really start thinking about how much time I'm dedicating to that relationship and how I can get that time back and spend it in a better, more productive way. So yeah, that for me was spending my time after work, going for a run, going home, reading instead of going out, watching documentaries that really were beneficial. I mean, listening to podcasts, these are all things that I started doing with that time. And it's definitely been extremely beneficial.
I want to talk about relationships and networking a bit. And I actually had a colleague ask me this question not too long ago. She said she kind of felt like she was becoming an elitist among her friends because, she's goal oriented, she's on her mission. And then she felt like, her friends are not bringing, quote unquote, that value to her life. And I shared with her and I was like, I get it because I've been there. But just because you're on top right now, um, doesn't mean you're always going to be on top, or there's a friend that's on top in another area of her life. So, just as we make transitions in health, how do we make transitions in our relationships when you are making those changes, your mental and personal changes, and you're like, yeah, these people are cool, but I'm on some other stuff right now, and I need to be value rich with people that get it.
Yeah, that's definitely hard to do. And I will say I've lost a few friends along the way. I can't say that it's a bad thing, though. I think it's all in the way that you present yourself, because I think I actually saw one of your other podcasts about friends supporting your business. And that's extremely kind of where I'm going, because the people in our lives know us as who we are today. They don't know us as our future self. They don't necessarily know where we want to go. And so when we're trying to shift to this new person, this improved, better version of ourselves, it's kind of hard. And at times it's actually scary for some of the people in our lives to see, oh my gosh, you're going to leave me behind. You're going to forget about me. And I've had some friends that I've lost because, number one, they weren't supportive. And number two, they were more concerned with their own self. When you take a look at the people around you, why are you spending time with them? What are they bringing to you? Are they happy for you when you receive a promotion? Are they happy for you when you receive a new opportunity? And in sharing some of the things that have happened in my life, I can really recall times where I've been around a group of girlfriends and shared with them this new amazing opportunity that I've had to have exclusive training rights at a particular facility and have this new area where I can tap into new leads and new relationships and new clients that I have first dibs on, per se. So it was huge for my business and I was extremely excited. And I will never forget the day, I mentioned that to this group of girlfriends I was with. And one friend in particular just said, oh, well, that doesn't really sound like something that I would like. It actually, that place sounds ghetto. I was like, what do you mean that? It was quite shocking because everybody else around was like, wow, Brittany, that's great. That's exciting. I can see how excited you are. And then to have this one person who kind of just crapped on that opportunity, for me, that just showed, okay, well, maybe she has some good intention that she thinks I could do better than that. But hey, that was my starting point. And from then on, the friendship was a bit different because I honestly felt like my best interests weren't at heart. And so, like I said, I think many of our friends and many people currently in our lives are, one, they're fearful that we are going to leave them behind, or maybe quite honestly, they're jealous. And those people aren't going to bring any value to you. They're not going to help spread your brand. They're not going to help share what you have to offer other people. And it's been very clear to me, the friends that may not completely go all in and be completely supportive of things I'm doing, but they know that I'm out there and what my purpose is, and they're willing to share that freely because they genuinely do care and value me as a person. So finding that group of people and really surrounding yourself and networking more it's extremely important and critical to just continued growth. And if you lose friendships along the way, take time to mourn that. But at the same time, don't let it stop you from going on, and don't spend time trying to find out why this person doesn't care, because it's irrelevant.
Yeah.
You can't make yourself crazy trying to figure out why somebody acts a certain way, that's usually a problem they have within themselves. So that was my experience with it.
Gotcha. What are some of the best ways or the best tips you have when it comes to networking within your employer, within the company?
So depending on what company you work for, there are many different options. And myself in particular, I work for a company that offers a lot of networking opportunities through different committees. So I would say, number one, go out there and see what committees you can get involved in within your current employer. Number two, network with people who you admire and look up to. I think a lot of people, especially in corporate environments, there's that hierarchy that kind of creates a fear for people to reach out, and people hesitate to reach out to someone who may be or appear to be more senior than them. And you can't be afraid. You need to really take time to think about why this person is admirable to you, commend them for that, really share with them and build that connection. I spent a lot of time early on admiring people from afar, and I would be afraid to reach out to them because of hierarchy reasons. And I think that's a big mistake. And now in hindsight, some of the women that I have looked up to and really admired for so much time, I finally have built the courage to reach out. And in doing so, I realized that they were human, first of all. They're very, very humble people. They were glad that I reached out. They were actually honored that I reached out and complimented them and provided them with why I admired them. And for them, it was shocking, and they were really appreciative of it. So you never really know who you reach out to that you're going to make their day by doing that and lifting them up. And then now it's a new connection that you have going forward. So getting involved in committees, reaching out to people you admire, and also, continuing to build your external network is very important. So I'm not much of a LinkedIn person, but I'm trying to be more of that, because that's a great way to tap into your business networks around within your local community without necessarily going to a physical event. And then, of course, that's my last, is really get out there more, make time for the networking events. And those are a bit uncomfortable, especially for many of us who are introverts. But getting out there, that's the only way to overcome the fear and have genuine conversations with people.
Right, absolutely. With your experience, what would be some of the best advice? Because for many of my listeners, even myself, we're pretty much early 30s, mid-career, maybe just finished grad school or whatever, but we're looking for that career transition, that progression to C-level. What are some of the best tips you can give us just to stay on that track?
So best tips, number one, is to be content with who you are and really look inside yourself and appreciate what you have to offer and share that with people. Because I can say, I'm actually, as of this year, I just turned 30. I struggled with self-confidence issues for a very long time. And until I was able to become more confident in who I am and appreciate who I am, I really couldn't move forward. And so continuing that upward move in my career, it really happened when I was able to just be confident with who I am and stop downplaying your credentials. And some people think you're going to be a bit vain or you're tooting your own horn, but let's be real. No one else is going to do that for you. So it's okay to own your past and own what you've done. If you've completed your MBA, make that known. If you have completed a coaching program, make that known. If you've gone through particular training or you've accomplished something, put it out there and talk about it and let people not understand just that you've gotten through that, but why it was so important and beneficial to you, because you never know who you're going to be inspiring in that conversation. And again, just continuing to move through a career, especially as a woman. And for me, being a woman in a male dominated industry and so young, I had a point in my career recently where I was just completely at a loss, where I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't know how to get there. I felt like there were women trying to sabotage my career because of who I am. And I had a lot of issues, just kind of self-identity crisis per se, because other women, honestly, women can be very jealous and catty, and not everyone is that way. So when you weed through that and you remember, similar to the story I shared earlier, some women just are jealous, and you can't beat yourself up trying to figure out why they might not like you or might not want to support you. Just be comfortable with who you are and own your accomplishments and share those, because I can say now I'm going to be moving into a global position within my company at the beginning of the year. And this is recent news for me. And I'm very excited and extremely scared, but it's the good scared, because
Right.
like I said, I'm 30 years old and I'm a woman in this male dominated industry. I'm going to be a 30-year-old in a global position for a company with over 6,000 people. That's pretty incredible. And for a while I wasn't it's not something that I really looked at and thought a lot, this is, it's no big deal. I just got the job, but I mean, that's something to really appreciate. And I'm going to own that. And that's going to carry me forward through the next 5-10 years of my career. And no telling where it will take me, but definitely talking more about your accomplishments and not downplaying what you've done. That's extremely important for women to do.
Absolutely. Have you had a mentor throughout your career in or out the workplace? Have you had a mentor help you along this path?
Yeah, I actually have quite a few mentors. So informal mentors that I've had. Shalene Johnson is one that has really been a mentor for me through my fitness career, and now turning into my own personal business with the personal coaching that I offer. She's done a lot for me. She actually has her own podcast. I recommend everyone go check it out. She does business related podcasts as well as personal development. I've had formal mentors locally within my company through a women's network that I'm a part of. And they've really helped me just with getting more confident in my personal brand. And I think every woman should have a mentor, whether it be informal or formal. And I've actually began mentoring others myself, for those who are interested in creating their own side business while they're working a 9-to-5. I have a lot of women who I'm currently mentoring, and I think every mentor needs a mentor.
Absolutely.
Every coach needs a coach. And so I would also say you don't ever just become the expert and end all know all. I think we're constantly evolving and we're constantly growing. We need somebody to continue to guide us in the path that we want to go, because many people have experiences and they've done it. There's no reason for us to think we have to do this alone. So mentor programs, I'm a huge fan of. And I'm actually looking to do more with that space when I have more time. I think one of my passions is getting a great mentoring program out there. So more to come there for sure.
I know you have the brunch that's coming up. I think this episode is going to air after the brunch, but I've kind of noticed this is something that you do on a quarterly basis. And what is the brunch and why do you have it?
So yeah, I have a group that I have recently created called HTX Girlfriends. And really it's a group within Houston to get a group of women together as frequently as we can. Quarterly is most likely what we're doing. Hopefully going into 2017, we'll be able to do things on a monthly basis. But essentially that group is for really bringing women together to expand their network, to inspire other women, to build new relationships. And going back to the fact that if you look within your inner circle, what value is being brought to your life? And do you need to expand that circle? And most times the answer is yes. And one thing that my friends have always complimented me on is that I am a great networker, that I'm good at bringing people together. I'm great at identifying with people and seeing they may have a special skill or talent that somebody else needs, or they may be working in an industry or have something to offer, and I'll connect them. So I've done a lot more with that recently with HCX Girlfriends, providing brunches or volunteering events and things, bringing people together really to just meet and talk and do it in an informal space that doesn't feel like you're going to some sort of conference that's scary and
overwhelming.
Yeah. So doing a brunch with a bunch of girls, that's so much more informal. And let's be honest, having mimosas and girl talk, who doesn't love that?
Absolutely. So I want to go ahead and I'll wrap up here. How can people get in touch with you, and how do you define success?
So you can get in touch with me by Facebook. Again, my name is Brittanni Below. I have a Facebook page available, as well as my website. It's www.thebrittanni.com, and it's spelled Brittanni. And I have to share my funny story of why I named my website thebrittanni.com, because I was going to just go with Brittanni.com. And because I spell my name so uniquely, I thought, yeah, this could be available domain. And then whenever I was searching for it, someone had already bought the domain and was selling it for like $1,500. Like, I'm not about to spend over $1,000 just to have my name out. So the Brittanni, I am the Brittanni who will help you with your career, fitness, and health. So no one else can do that. And I guess my definition of success changes often, but currently, really success is something that is personal. So whatever you're doing and whatever you're going after, the only way that you can truly be successful is to love yourself and be your best self and put your best foot forward and be confident in what you have to offer the world. And not just be confident, but put it out there, because it's such a waste to have so much inside of you that you're not sharing. And once you begin to share that, success will come, whatever it looks like for you.
I love it. Brittanni, I want to acknowledge you because obviously we work together, but we didn't have much interaction with each other. But I really appreciate you being open and sharing your story during this beautiful interview. So thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate the time. And again, thanks so much for all that you do and this podcast. It's an amazing platform, and I hope to continue seeing more from you.
Everyone, remember, I believe in you, and a personal connection leads to an influential network. So thanks for networking with Michelle.